Well, welcome to the Coach's Corner. Hi, I'm Frank Barbehenn, and I will be your discipleship coach for the week. The children's mind and the intrigues and the magical thinking and the fears that are buried in their mind, how do we help them? I would offer that there are two major things that we need to do that I mentioned earlier in Dancing the Dance. It's on one hand protecting our children, and on the other hand equipping them. We need to protect our children in that we don't want to expose them too intensely or for too long, for too often to the things that they're afraid of, because we can just add to their confusion and their fear. So, example, when one of my children was preschool, pretty young, we were watching Return to Oz and didn't know what was coming. Out of the blue, we were in this large chamber, and the camera pans across these series of glass cases, display cases, and in the display cases were heads sitting on pedestals, and the heads were talking heads. Well, the horse is out of the barn. My son now had seen it. But I immediately decided this was way too strong. There's no point to it. I'm not equipping him for dealing with his fears. I'm not equipped for life by sitting there saying there's no recreational value to it. So I immediately took him out of the, it was at a drive-in movie back then. So I took him out of the car and went to the concession stand and got hot dogs. And I just wanted to wrap what had happened with something just simple and straightforward and concrete reality. But actually to this day, I remember this scene. It's the only scene I remember. And my son, who's in his 30s, remembers that scene as well. And what's the point? So I wanted to protect my son from something like that. And we could come up with all kinds of examples of needing to protect our children from being overly stimulated. On the other hand, we do need to equip our children to deal with their fears, because their fears are real. Their fears are driven from forces inside of them. And the fears are driven by the way reality is. And on top of that, we have a gospel that focuses on dealing with evil, suffering, and death. So we want to equip our children. And one way to equip young children is to what I call touch their fears. So, for example, my wife, who's the director, longstanding director of a large preschool here in the Lehigh Valley, she has authorized the teachers to sing songs that play around with low-level fears, like with bats or howling winds. And the children will make noises of the howling wind and so forth. And that is actually a very useful tool for helping them to cope with low-level fears. Second is using a nightlight, because children are not afraid of the dark. They're afraid of what they project out into the dark. And what happens in darkness briefly is that the child loses their visual defense. They can't see. And we're not night creatures. We're not like owls. We can't see in the dark like owls can. So we feel defenseless. So then the fears that we're carrying inside get projected out into the night darkness. So the bedrooms that are pitch black dark become like the movie theater for the child's head. So parents wisely use night lights to kill some of that darkness. The third is telling the children the truth. So even though children can't connect all the dots, we still want them to tell them the truth, because eventually they're going to connect the dots. And we give them the truth. We tell them how to connect the dots. They're eventually going to get it, even if they don't get it right away. And what's the point of lying to them? And there are some parents who will join the child with the monsters and say, all right, let's look in the closet, let's look under the bed, and I will show you there's no monster there. Well, what are you doing? As a parent, what you're saying is, yes, there are monsters, but right now when we look in the closet or look under the bed, they're not there. They might come when daddy is not there or mommy's not there. But we know that they're there. They come there. But right now they're not. See, what we've done is we've actually ended up reinforcing their belief that there's monsters there. We do need to reassure them that there is nothing there. There never has been anything there. That doesn't chase it away right away, but we're giving them the truth, and the truth eventually equips them. And the final thing is to not focus on the dark so much, but to focus on the light, the positive. So out of parents and my wife at the preschool, they will focus on costuming and being a prince or princess or being some other character or being a pirate and so forth, and letting them celebrate in a more simple, positive way some character that they would like to be like. All right, that's it for this week. If you have any questions, blog me or email me at frank@peakperformancediscipleship.com, frank@peakperformancediscipleship.com, and we will see you next week.